I'm Isabelle. I've been living now in Germany for 33 years. I started in strategy consulting, did my PhD at the University of Munich because I wanted to speak German properly. And then I moved to Berlin in the mid of the 90s, and it was here like a desert, so there was not a lot to do. And I started working for a company that tried to attract foreign investors for the former GDR. And in this context, I was responsible for the field of chemicals and life science. I was involved in setting up 3 startups for 3 American biotech companies. So that was a really pioneering job. By doing that, it was an extremely interesting learning curve, as you can imagine. So I was like the first employee of these companies here. So I had everything to do from the administrative authorization to finding employees, but also to apply for subsidies and to organize the roadshow for finding a new financing for this subsidiary. So very, very interesting time. And I stopped that as I got my first child. I moved to a state-owned VC at that time. KfW took it over and then started High-Tech Gründerfonds, which is a big success, as you know. So I then moved to the Federal Chancellery, where I worked for Chancellor Schröder for 1.5 years and Chancellor Merkel for 1.5 years on all the topic of financing, so financing of SMEs, but also startups and innovation. And it was also the very beginning of green financing, so the financing of energetic renovation and the combination of non-financial KPIs in financial products. After that, I worked at KfW for 8 years. I was in charge of a big loan portfolio to European banks. And one of my tasks was to transform this portfolio from plain vanilla loans to green loans. And at some point, the federal government and KfW decided to set up a new fund, a new state-owned fund. And because of my past experience in this field and the new experience in structuring a certain business, they asked me if I want to join. So I was in charge of spinning off Coparion out of KfW. I set up the fund. I was one of the managing director. I quit the fund at the end of 2020, and then I set up my own business in the field of ESG, impact and sustainability for VC and PE funds. And I was doing quite well as a team that has been investing in clean tech for years. One was looking for a new partner, and they convinced me to join them. So I joined the team of the GET team, the GET Fund team, which is the Green European Tech Fund. And yes, and so we have been able to raise the fund, to have the first closing last year, and now we are investing in startups, in clean tech startups. So that's my journey. Well, and as a fund manager, of course, it's your fund and your team and the investments you do. So that's for sure. That was not an easy path until this point, but it was my decision to take this risk, and that and it's a lot of risk. And when you have made it by having been able to convince investors to trust you and to give you their money, then to build a team which is aligned on the goals to achieve, and then to find the right startups and to work with the founders. I mean, that's for sure something that feels really good. I had a boss who inspired me a lot, and he told me, everyone who is a burden for you, just take a book, write it down, and anytime, at some point you will be in charge, then read that and don't do it. So that's very important. And that's perhaps one of the most inspiring thing I got. And I give this piece of advice, of course, to my kids, but to many people, because when you are an employee somewhere, many times you have people around you that are not so inspiring. but take the best out of it and think, okay, I will never do this way. I write it down, and you take it for you. At some point, you will be able to do it in a different way, or in the same way if they inspire you. So most advice are advice for both women and men, actually. Yeah? So there is no the women and the men, but and this is when you take a big risk. So you have to think about the timing and the value add for your customers. In the case of a fund, it's your value add for your investors and your investees. But in the case of a startup, it's for your customers. Of course, you need the right business model, the right product. You need a good team to be able to execute that. And you need an extreme good network. So what you should do is to really find experienced experts, mentoring, all the support programs in Accelerator, the French Tech events. They are good to set up, to find new contacts. And you have to define a strategy and try to stick to it. Many people will try to tell you things that they know better than you do, but of course, you have to listen to them and to take this into account, but believe in yourself and in the strategy you have defined and try to stick to that. And it's combined with the other advice, which is the most important one to me, is don't try to play a role. Be authentic, be yourself.
Women-led startups.
Yeah, so I think the most important thing is that you need more role models on the female founder side and on the investor side. Yeah? Of course, everything that helps to come to more role models is good. All the mentoring programs, or what we try to do is to share speaking opportunities. So if you can't go, then try to find another lady able to come. There should be some. So you can incentivize things in programs, but I wouldn't take it now into account because it's something which is more on the policy side. One important aspect is to be aware that there is a bias, yeah, and to make it clear that this bias exists, and when you are aware of this, then you can as an investor strengthen diverse teams, and it's better for your return because the statistics prove that diverse teams are better. Yeah. There are some programs for women only. I am involved from time to time in the Grace Accelerator. I think it's great, but it's something that it's only good for the very beginning. So to incubate your idea only in a female type of setting, it's good, but at some point you are, it's a normal world and you should be in the normal way, and you can give a bit more money or you can increase tickets or so for women, but there should be the same program for everyone, except taking into account that there might be bias in the assessment. And one of the main issues, I think, is to retain women in this industry, or to give women the possibility of taking this risk, is the compatibility of family and career, and family and entrepreneurship. And there is a lot to do in there concerning parental leave, parental allowance for female founders, or what happens with the supervisory board mandates and so on. So that's a really big issue, and it's a societal issue. It's not so much on the entrepreneurship, but it's huge. And of course, it's if we would have solved that would make things much easier for young women. And then there are some specific programs. I don't know if you know that there is a scholarship for women for VC analysts at the CPEA. That's something which is done by the German Association of Venture Capital and the Technical University of Munich. And we have found out that it would be good to empower women in funds, and it's an expensive learning program or trainee, and that's why it's difficult to get the fund managers financing that. And with scholarships, you can empower young women to participate.